This prophetic word is based on a dream God gave me, and it filled me with hope. Hope that my breakthrough isn't over, that my time isn't over. This dream was for me, but it's also for some of you who have been faithfully walking with God, pursuing righteousness and holiness, yet feel stuck, delayed, or trapped in an uncomfortable, unfavorable place. You've been in a position that doesn't really reflect God's promises for your life, waiting, unsure how to move forward or break free. It is written that people perish without vision or knowledge. So sometimes God gives his people dreams like this to encourage and strengthen others. In the dream, I was lost in an unfamiliar city, walking down the street of a big city, completely lost. I was trying to find my way back home, which was supposedly on the other side of the city, but I had no resources, no money, no purse, no phone to call my family for help. Only one woman was walking beside me, so I wouldn't feel so alone. She tried to help me, to show me the direction, but she kept asking for more information, a missing piece that would help her guide me, and I didn't have it. I just knew my home was somewhere across the city, but I couldn't remember exactly where. Since she couldn't give me exact directions, I started looking for other options. I thought about calling a taxi, but then I realized I didn't even remember my home address, so the taxi couldn't take me there. I also noticed I didn't have my wallet, money, or purse. I thought of calling my family, but then realized I didn't even have my phone. It was so frustrating because I had no resources to get home, and home was where I needed to go to regroup and fix my life. I had no tools to get to where I needed to be. When I had completely exhausted all my options, that's when some destiny helpers appeared. A car with several people pulled over and asked me what I was still doing there. They said, "Come on, get in, let's go home." There were three or four of them in the car, and they felt like family, like my soul family or destiny helpers. They said, "We've been waiting for you." This represents the people God sends into your life, your destiny helpers, who show up when you feel completely lost, when you've run out of strength, and when you don't know what to do next. Now, let me make this clear. I don't mean that you should literally jump into a car with strangers. The car with the destiny helpers in the dream is a metaphor. It represents the vehicle God will use to bless you. In other words, these destiny helpers are instruments of God's grace, people God will send to help you get to where you need to be and position you for your big breakthrough. Whatever you are missing to get from point A to point B, whether it's finances, resources, or support, God will provide it through these destiny helpers. That's why it's so important to stay humble, spiritually grounded, and filled with the Holy Spirit so you can recognize the help God is sending. If you walk in the flesh, you might miss it because His help may not come in the form you expect. But if your heart stays aligned with His Spirit, you'll recognize the blessing when it comes. I felt so grateful that they found me because I truly had no idea how to get home. I apologized to them for being late and checked my watch. It showed that there were only 20 minutes left before our flight. It was supposed to be a very important flight that we were meant to take together. Their destinies were connected to mine. Our breakthrough was tied together somehow. But I felt guilty realizing I hadn't even packed my suitcase. I thought first they'll drive me home, then I'll pack, and then we'll rush to the airport. But there's no way we can make it in 20 minutes. However, they told me something unexpected. They said, "Don't worry, the flight is in 2 days at the same time, not in 20 minutes. You still have plenty of time." And in that moment, I heard a voice say, "Look how lucky you are. This is God's grace." And now, my interpretation of the dream: your breakthrough is coming, takeoff is coming. You thought you had missed your chance, you thought it was over for you. But through a divine intervention, at the very moment when you had nothing left, when you were lost, helpless, and without resources, God sent the help you needed to bridge the gap from where you were to where you needed to be. God is preparing you to step into His promises for your life, into your promised land. You haven't missed your moment. Your kairos moment, your divine timing, is still ahead of you. You still have enough time to prepare for it. So make sure to pack your suitcase, meaning get ready. Stay focused on God's promises. Don't waste your time. Use it wisely so you don't delay your breakthrough. Work on your healing by spending time in God's presence, in prayer, and in His Word, so you'll be ready for takeoff in His perfect timing. Behold, I am coming like a thief. Blessed is the one who stays awake, keeping his garments on, that he may not go about naked and be seen exposed. This means you need God's covering and His Holy Spirit guiding you so that you don't miss your blessing when it comes, so that your destiny helpers can locate you. Do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery. Instead, be filled with the Holy Spirit. This is another confirmation from the Holy Spirit. Avoid fornication, alcohol, pornography, masturbation. Even be mindful of the music you listen to. Some music is spiritually contaminated. Some artists dedicate their songs through witchcraft to make them sell. So guard your eye gates and ear gates. You have to stay laser focused on God's promise so you can recognize it when it comes and not miss your chance. If you don't have the oil of the Spirit, you may miss your divine moment and your destiny helpers won't be able to find you. The plane, the takeoff, represents the fulfillment of your dreams, something you've been waiting and praying for. But to reach it, you must have oil in your lamp. God says, have oil in your lamp. This comes from the parable of the 10 virgins in Matthew 25, where 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. The wise ones brought extra oil and were ready when the bridegroom arrived, while the foolish ones missed their moment. The foolish virgins brought no extra oil, so when the bridegroom finally arrived at midnight, their lamps had gone out and they couldn't enter the celebration. The door was shut. They were left outside and cut off. The bridegroom said he didn't know them, meaning they had not received the grace of God. Only the five who were prepared, who had oil in their lamps, received God's grace and favor when it came, and they entered the celebration. So, even though it may seem like the promise is delayed or like it's never going to happen, it is coming. It will come like a thief in the night, suddenly and unexpectedly. Don't miss it by failing to prepare while you still have time. The oil represents the Holy Spirit and spiritual readiness. Have oil in your lamp is a call to stay filled with the Holy Spirit and ready for the joyful celebration God is preparing for you. It's about living faithfully and keeping your light burning bright so you're ready when your moment arrives. So even though it looks like you've missed it, you haven't missed your flight. You haven't missed your moment. You haven't missed your destiny. God's grace is about to find you exactly where you are. Get ready for takeoff. Your breakthrough is still right on schedule.